Ever feel like you're stuck between a rock and a hard place? Like, no matter what you choose, someone's gonna get hurt.
Mm. Yeah.
That's the kind of energy we're diving into today. We're looking at the Bhagavad-Gītā, and let me tell you,
Okay.
this first chapter is intense. It
Yeah.
throws you right onto the battlefield, Kurukṣetra,
Yeah.
two massive armies ready to tear each other apart. And it's not just some random fight. This is like the showdown. You can practically feel the tension.
Wow.
The coolest thing is how the story unfolds. We see everything through King Dhritarashtra's eyes, or rather ears. He's got his advisor, Sanjaya, giving him this play-by-play of the whole thing. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
Dhritarashtra's sons, they're leading one of the army. Let's talk about awkward family reunions. He's supposed to be neutral, but you can tell he's definitely got a favorite in this fight. What do you think about how this sets the stage?
It's brilliant. Right off the bat, you've got this moral dilemma, this conflict of loyalties. It's like the text is telling us straight up, buckle up, folks. Things are about to get messy. And don't expect easy answers, because right and wrong.
Yeah, that's going to get all blurred in this story.
I like how you put that, blurred lines. Speaking of blurred lines, the text then gives us this incredible rundown of who's who in these armies. And it's not just, oh yeah, there's Bob and he's got a sword. It's like, here's this legendary warrior, master of this incredible fighting style, on and on. Heroes, archers, even a guy famous for, get this, his appetite. It's almost comical, like, pick your champions, everyone, because things are about to get real.
In all this excitement, there's one guy who seems a little too confident. Duryodhana, the king's son. He's completely sure he's going to win, no doubt in his mind. Does the text hint at all that maybe, just maybe, this guy's confidence is a tad misplaced?
Oh, totally. You can practically see the arrogance radiating off him. There's this one line he's boasting about his grandfather, saying, no warrior on earth is like him. It's practically a trope, right? Overconfident leader, blind faith in his side. You can practically see the fall from grace coming, and the text definitely knows how to build that suspense.
And boy, does that fall from grace start with a bang. On the other side, we've got our supposed hero, Arjuna. This is the guy everyone's counting on, legendary warrior, brave, the whole 9 yards. But then, right as the battle's about to start, he just falls apart. Yeah, no kidding. He looks across the battlefield, sees his family, his teachers, even his friends, all ready to fight him to the death. And it completely overwhelms him. The text describes it as his limbs failing, his mouth going dry. We're not talking about a little nervousness here. It's like a full-blown panic attack.
Oh, wow.
He's trembling, his skin is burning. He even drops his bow, his legendary bow, in despair. Can you imagine this legendary warrior brought to his knees by the weight of what he's about to do? Makes you wonder, is this what true courage looks like?
That's a good question. It's easy to think of heroes as fearless, but what Arjuna is showing us is the human cost of war. He's not afraid to feel the weight of what's about to happen, the emotional reality of it all.
It's such a powerful moment, and it really makes you think about what it means to be heroic.
Absolutely. It's like he's saying, wait a minute, are we really about to do this? This can't be the right answer.
It's so human, you know?
Yeah.
And it makes you think twice about what makes a hero. We expect them to charge right into battle, but what about the inner battle? Isn't it more courageous to actually question your actions? Especially when everyone's looking to you to lead.
Absolutely. And that's what makes Arjuna so interesting, right? He's not afraid to voice his doubts, to wrestle with the morality of it all. But here's the thing. He doesn't just fall apart. He explains why he doesn't want to fight, thinks through the consequences for everyone, not just himself.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, what's the point of a kingdom if I have to kill my own family to rule it? He'd rather die, literally, than win like that. Plus, he's worried about what happens next, the long game. Societal collapse, spiritual ruin, like generations paying the price for this violence. He's not just seeing the battle in front of him.
And that's where you see how deep the Bhagavad-Gītā goes. This isn't just some war story. It's about dharma, finding your purpose, doing the right thing, even when it's hard. Arjuna's words make you consider, like, what does victory really cost? What happens when you choose power and ambition above everything else?
You said clinging, right? And it strikes me that for Arjuna, it's not just about the land, it's about what that kind of win does to you, to your soul, your conscience.
Yeah, definitely. And this is where the text goes beyond just a simple moral debate. It's asking, how do we choose when we've got all these duties pulling us in different directions? Arjuna's a warrior, so he should fight, right? He's got family and a conscience. There's no easy answer, and that's the point. The Bhagavad-Gītā isn't giving us a rule book. It's making us figure this out for ourselves.
So it's less what should I do? And more like, how do I even decide? Like, how do we develop that wisdom to make tough choices, but make them with, like, integrity?
It reminds me of that quote, the unexamined life is not worth living.
Exactly, those unexamined lives. They're the ones charging into battle without a second thought. And that could be a real battle, or, metaphorical.
Which brings up a really important point. Arjuna, for all his knowledge, his skills, he's frozen by this dilemma. All that training, and he realizes he doesn't have the answers. Exactly. It shows you knowledge without wisdom, it's not enough. You can be a brilliant strategist, but if you haven't grappled with right and wrong, purpose, consequences, your actions, they can backfire in a big way.
So it's not enough to just be well-informed. You got to be well-wise.
Exactly. And that's where Krishna comes in.
Krishna,
Yeah.
right. We haven't mentioned him much, but he's kind of a big deal in all this. He's not just Arjuna's charioteer.
That's putting it mildly. Krishna is an avatar of Vishnu. It's like divinity in human form, here to guide us. And he's going to help Arjuna through this whole mess, help him see his duty, his purpose, even the nature of reality itself.
Whoa. So it's like having the best therapist in the universe, riding shotgun while you're about to fight the battle of your life.
You could say that. But really, Krishna being there, it's showing us how important it is to ask for help. We don't have to have all the answers. There's people who face these questions before. They can give us perspective, help us find that inner wisdom we've got.
And that's where the first chapter leaves us. Talk about a cliffhanger. Duryodhana is ready to rumble, blind ambition, thinks he's already won. Then there's Arjuna, wrestling with his conscience, looking for answers from, well, a divine source.
It's such a good setup, right? You've got the battle that's about to happen mirroring this war going on inside Arjuna. Makes you ask, how's he going to reconcile these duties? What's he going to choose? And what does that choice tell us about being a true hero, having real wisdom, living out your dharma?
It's like high-stakes drama meets existential crisis, all in this ancient text.
And that's the beauty of the Bhagavad-Gītā, right? It doesn't shy away from the big questions, no easy answers. You're right there with Arjuna facing this challenge.
And in a way, we're facing that challenge in our own lives, right? We might not have a battlefield, but we all have those internal struggles, those moments where we're torn, different paths, different values, different versions of ourselves.
For sure. And like Arjuna, we've got a choice. Do we just charge in, blinded by ambition, or maybe fear? Or do we stop, think, ask for guidance, tap into that wisdom that can help us navigate all this?
It's such a powerful message, and what's crazy is how relevant it still is, even though it was written forever ago.
Absolutely. That's the power of a good story, right? It goes beyond time and place.
Mhm.
It just speaks to what it means to be human.
It's like holding up a mirror, making us ask the big questions, what we believe in, what really matters, and how do we live a life that reflects that? It makes you think. We talk about being informed, getting all the facts to make good choices. But Arjuna, he shows us what happens when you have knowledge but no wisdom. It's like that's a dangerous combo.
It's so true. Think about it. Information overload, right? We know more than ever, but it's like, do we really? We're drowning in facts, but starving for, like, real understanding.
It's like we know a lot, but we're not sure what it all means.
Exactly. And that's why this ancient text, it still matters. The Bhagavad-Gītā is telling us, go deeper. It's not enough to just skim the surface. We got to be willing to look inside, even when it's uncomfortable.
It's not, what do I know? It's, okay, but what do I believe? What's important? How do I want to live in the world with that?
Yes. And that takes guts. Because you got to face the things maybe you're hiding from. Fears, doubts, all the stuff we tell ourselves about how the world works.
Makes me think of that saying by Rilke, the poet. He said, live the questions now. Like, don't worry so much about the answer. Just sit with what you don't know. Maybe that's how you find your way.
I love that. Because wisdom, it's not a finish line, it's a journey, right? And it starts when you're lost, when you have to question everything.
Just like Arjuna, he thought he was all set, then life throws this crazy situation at him, and bam, he's facing his own doubts, his inner stuff. That's the real battle.
And isn't it always that struggle, trying to make your desires and your values line up, what we want versus who we want to be?
So for us in our own lives, our own, battlefields, what can we learn from this guy, Arjuna?
Here's the thing. When you hit a fork in the road and you're freaking out, full of doubt, remember him. He was brave enough to question, to ask for help. He knew that real strength is not about ignoring the doubts. It's about facing them head on.
Using both your head and your heart, right. Logic, but also that inner voice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And maybe we need to find our own Krishna, Someone wise, a mentor, a friend who gets it, they can help us fight those inner battles and come out stronger, truer to ourselves.
That's a nice thought to end on. Like,
Right.
we've all got that inner wisdom, a compass, but sometimes you need a little help to read it to find your way back.
100%. And the Bhagavad Gītā, it's like a map in a way. It helps you walk through all the messy stuff of life with like open eyes and a good heart.
It reminds us, even when things are crazy, there's a path towards wisdom, peace, a life that matters. And just like Arjuna, it starts by being brave enough to ask the hard questions, admit what we don't know, and ask for help along the way. This is the deep dive, reminding you to never stop exploring, never stop questioning, and keep searching for that wisdom inside yourself. We'll be back soon with another deep dive into another fascinating topic. Until then, may your journey be full of insight, compassion, and the courage to face your own Kurukṣetra.